It is preparing.
Done?
No, I'll tell you. It is setting up. The moment we go live, I'll just tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are live, Vikas.
Okay.
Over to you.
Good evening to all, and apologies for yesterday. There was a technical glitch and we couldn't continue. So today I will start from the beginning. And this 90-minute webinar is around, as you can see, using the textbook for teaching EVS. Okay, and these are our Telangana state textbooks. So, and I am Vikas. I am a faculty at Azim Premji University, and my work areas are basically science education and environmental studies. So in this webinar, we will talk a bit about nature of EVS and something around perspective of EVS. And then what we'll do, we'll pick up a chapter from class 4 EVS textbook and explore what kind of opportunities are there which can be availed by the teachers of EVS. So before getting on with it, and when we say that we are EVS teacher and we are teaching EVS, and EVS is a subject, when we talk about it, the first thing which comes to our mind is what is the nature of EVS as a subject. So if we look at the nature of EVS as a subject, so it's basically confluence of 3 subjects, that is sciences, social science, and environmental education. So EVS is a composite discipline which draws insights from sciences, social sciences, and environmental education. So as it has been made by integrating these 3 subject streams, so that's why we call it as a composite discipline. Okay, so and when we move further, EVS is subject, then there are certain when there is a subject, there is a syllabus, and when we see a syllabus, there is a curriculum, and then when there is a curriculum, there are curricular expectations also. So every subject has certain curricular expectations. So for EVS, the curricular expectations as laid down by NCERT, they are given in this learning outcomes document at the elementary stage, as you can see. So NCERT has pointed out curricular expectations in their learning outcomes document. So as per the EVS curriculum, children at the primary stage are expected to acquire awareness about immediate and wider surroundings through lived experiences on various themes related to daily life. So what are these various themes? These are family, plants, animals, food, water, travel, and shelter, etc. So the number one curricular expectation for teaching EVS is that the learner should acquire awareness about immediate and wider surroundings through lived experience. When we say lived experience, whatever experiences I am gaining while being in my immediate surrounding as a learner, it is talking about those experiences which we see every day, which we live every day. So this is the first curricular expectation. The second curricular expectation is nurture the natural curiosity and creativity for the immediate surrounding. So when you are living in a locality or in a neighborhood, so your natural curiosity and creativity for the immediate surrounding should get scaffolded, should get nurtured by the teacher. Okay, so as human beings also, we have inherent qualities of being curious about something. And when we are curious about something, we get into creative endeavors also. We are curious, we ask some questions, and for seeking answers to those questions, we resort to some creative solutions. We think about something and come out with creative solutions. So that's how we are. And therefore, the second expectation is to nurture the natural curiosity and creativity for the immediate surroundings. The third curricular expectations by NCERT is to develop various processes, skills like observation, discussion, explanation, experimentation, logical reasoning through interaction with immediate surroundings. So this expectation is to develop certain processes or skills in the learner, which are like observation, discussion, explanation, experimentation, logical reasoning, which I will gain as a learner through interaction with immediate surroundings. So these are the basic process skills which are required by the learner, so that he or she inculcates that. So observation, you observe something minutely, you draw out inferences, whatever inferences are there, you discuss about them, you try to explain them, you articulate it properly, you experiment something to seek answers. And when we are explaining something, articulating something, or we are drawing some inferences, logical reasoning is required. You will apply logic to substantiate something, to express about something, so that it is meaningful to other people. So that skill is required. So all this in EVS we have to do through interaction with immediate surroundings. Then the fourth one is develop sensitivity for the natural, physical, and human resources in the immediate environment. So as a learner, you should gain sensitivity for the natural, physical, and human resources. So in human resources, there can be several things. They can be elders. Natural and physical resources can be whatever is around us, like plants, animals, or our immediate and larger ecosystem. So being sensitive to all these things. And this is more important in these times, because we have seen several issues like global warming, the pollution, and a decline in the numbers of wildlife population. So there is a lot of debate around protecting our natural ecosystem. So learners, which will be our future citizens, should be sensitive around natural, physical, and human resources in the immediate environment. So the last one in curricular expectation is to point out and raise issues related to equality, justice, and respect for human dignity and rights. So as a learner, as a child, you should be able to see what is going right or wrong in the society. And whatever is your opinion in terms of equality, justice, and human dignity, you should be able to raise it and voice your opinion. So that is very important. So and in EVS, because content is drawn from all the three subjects, science, social science, and environmental education, there will be a lot of content which will relate to real life, and there might be several issues which can be seen in that content. And as a learner, I should be able to point out those issues, and I should be able to say why it is right or why it is wrong. So that is important. And that thought process, and after the thought process, your opinion. So this is pointing towards that, this last curricular expectation. So these are 5 curricular expectations from NCERT. So moving forward, yes. in EVS, we have seen that we have textbooks. We have talked about the nature of EVS and what are the curricular expectations. Now, after curricular expectation, what comes further is syllabus. So, what is the nature of syllabus? So, the EVS syllabus, if you will see, it's not about a list of topics from various subjects. It's not a list of topics from environmental education, social sciences, or sciences. Rather than, it's a theme. So, in EVS, we don't have a list of topics which might not be so connected with each other or might not have tangible conceptual connections. But instead of that, we have themes. So instead of having topics which can be scattered and it might be or can be difficult to make a connection between them, we have themes in EVS. And themes basically facilitates the worldview which child is having. So in these, when you say class 3 to 5, at this point of time, the worldview of child is like that, which is in continuum. The child doesn't see the world in compartments, like this is biology, this is physics, this is chemistry, or this is social science, or this is maths. He sees the world in continuity. So the contemporary research tells us that at this age, the child learning is basically sensorial. That's why those process skills, observation, seeing things, pointing them out, feeling things through hands, smelling. So lot of emphasis should be given on interacting with the environment and learning through senses. And themes facilitate that kind of learning, because in themes, everything is in continuum. So animals can be a theme, and human interaction with animals, animal interaction with the forest, and how all of us are connected, that kind of feeling or that kind of connection you can find in a theme. So that's why themes are chosen. Themes are chosen for connected and interrelated understanding. So if there are topic, you have to draw connections between each other. Instead of that, we are having themes for a connected and interrelated understanding. So, and this is themes are chosen because child is seeing the world in a continuum, not in separation or segmentation. He or she doesn't compartmentalize things. He sees life in a continuum. So themes facilitate this kind of learning, which is connected and interrelated. So when we talk of themes, themes move outward over class 3 to 5. So they gradually extend the child understanding of our world gradually. So class 3 will start with something. Class 4, the concept will become more dense. Class 5, it will be much denser. So it starts with immediate self to include my family, and then the neighborhood, and then locality, and also the country. So if we see in class 3, we can talk only about self and the family, and few more things which are closely related with my family. But in class 4th, I will move outward and I will talk about the neighborhood, the locality, and also the country. So this is how themes move outward and gets dense. We will see an example of this in the coming slides. So by the time child reaches class 5, she can see herself in the larger context as part of a community, country, and more tangibly as located in this world. So the attempt is that during class 3, 4, and 5, we make the child, the child like that he or she realizes herself as a part of community, the country, and also he or she is able to locate herself in this larger world. So that's why themes are going outward according to the cognitive ability of child or cognitive capacity of the child. So whatever my cognitive capacity is, according to that, syllabus is growing dense with each grade. So next, if we try to look at an example how themes are getting dense, when I say they move outward, what I mean by that. So that example we'll take. Now, if we look at this Telangana state textbook, and I also talk about that there are themes. So in Telangana textbook, if you look at the foreword, there are 7 themes. One is family, animals, plants, games, shelters, food, travel, and history. So for Telangana textbooks, we have 7 themes, and all the chapters in the textbook are part of these themes. So in a particular class, we will have 3 to 5 chapters from each themes. So these themes will run across class 3, 4, 5, and we will have chapters under that or lessons under that. So these are the themes for our textbooks. And now coming to the example, how theme is progressing. So we'll take an example of food. So suppose food is a theme, how it progresses or gets dense with each class. Let's have a look. So in class 3, what we eat, what others eat, what animals eat, we start with this. Okay. So you can see it's about self and also about family and some other things which are part of my family or are related with my family. When we go to class 4, we talk about how is food grown, what different plants they may have seen, how food reaches us. So you can see a difference how this food theme is progressing. So now from self, it's growing outward. We are going towards how is food grown, what different plant they may have seen, how food reaches us. I am eating food, how it is reaching to me. So now connections are extended further. Okay. Now when you reach class 5, the same theme on food will have who grows it, the hardship farmers may face, hunger or the plight of people who do not get food, spoilage and preservation of food, food habits and the crops grown, how is food digested. So you can see how themes get dense with each grade according to the cognitive capacity or cognitive level of the learners. So and you will see one thing which you will notice, that these words like spoilage and preservation are not used in class 3 or 4. They are only used in class 5. This is because at that class, I will have a better ability to comprehend these words, their meanings, and able to relate them in a sentence, and will be able to make a meaning out of it. So we will not have such kind of words which are difficult in class 3 or 4. So some complexity in words will come only in class 5. So this is based on the level of students, their cognitive capacity. And also, as EVS teachers, we should make attempts to increase the vocabulary of our learners. So increasing the vocabulary or enhancing the vocabulary of our learners is not only based, is not what you can say, it's not only through textbooks. You can use several resources which are there these days. A lot of internet resources are there. You should pick some text, stories, and other things which are relevant for that particular gate, and use them to enhance the vocabulary of the learner. So because language is very important, and when resources come from similar kind of context where I am growing up as child, then I relate more to it. So when you pick resources, be very specific that they are connected to child lives and are contextual. So because learning happens in a meaningful context, so they will gain vocabulary in a meaningful context. When I am not able to relate to the text, then I will not uptake the vocabulary. So textbook is there, but beyond textbook also we should use several texts, simple to complex, for increasing the vocabulary of learner. So that in EVS also, because a lot of meaning making is required, a lot of comprehension is required, so the children gets the meaning of what has been said in the chapter or lesson. So language is very important, and it's not like that if I'm a teacher of EVS, I'm not working on maths and language. Okay, so maths and language will naturally come into the subjects, and without language, it's difficult to get on with any subject. So you should be able to comprehend and then make meaning out of it. Then only you will understand the concept of the subject. So this attempt of feeding them with relevant text to increase their vocabulary should be done. And we should find opportunity to hone mathematical skills and language skills wherever possible. And EVS, there will be a lot of opportunity to talk about maths and basic operations and several other things. Similarly, enhancing the language skills like listening, speaking, reading, or writing using EVS texts. So that we should keep in mind that we, as EVS as a subject, it's composite and integrated, and maths and language can also be tackled through that. At this stage, because subjects flow into each other, there are no tight boundaries in terms of subject. Subjects will come only from class 6th onwards. So this subject EVS lays a groundwork in terms of nurturing those skills which will be used in specific subjects. Like from class 6th onwards, you will have science, social science. So the skills which we are developing in EVS will help us to understand science, social science more completely and in a holistic manner. Okay, so moving forward, if you look at the forward for class 4, for our EVS textbook, which is We, Our Environment, you see lot of things are there which relates to the curricular expectations given by NCERT. So it talks about society and environment, that all children should have an understanding of their society and environment. It talks about that as a learner, you should be able to question the incidents that happen in their society. It was there also in the curricular expectations by NCERT. They should be able to mold themselves by understanding their near and distant surroundings. So they should be able to mold their behavior, attitude, and also skills by understanding my natural ecosystem and my immediate surroundings. So I engage with my immediate surroundings and I gain certain skills. I improve my understanding. I bring changes in my attitudes and behavior. So that is what is required through EVS. And this is also saying that the learning should happen from the environment and it should be for the environment. So this is about sensitivity towards the environment. You are learning through the environment and also getting sensitive towards your environment in various aspects. Whatever is a part of your ecosystem. We spoke about animal, plants, forest. So being sensitive towards that while learning from that environment. So again, this develop an attitude to protect and give equal importance to plants, birds, and animal, etc. Okay, so lot of resonance is there with the curricular expectations given by NCERT. And in the foreword, it has been said that this book, particular EVS textbook of Telangana, has been made on the lines of NCERT syllabus and curricular expectations. So that's why you can see a similarity. Now, it is also talking about required skills, abilities, and attitudes. What are these? These are, if you can see, these skills, abilities, and attitudes, there are 10. And they are given in class 5 EVS textbook. And they are mentioned in the assessment source book of NCERT as well. These are the 10 process skills which curricular expectations is also talking, and our forward for class 4 EVS textbook is also talking that we should develop in EVS. All the effort should be directed towards developing these 10 skills. That is observation and recording, that you are able to report data, you are able to report results, you are able to narrate something, you are able to draw something, so that you are able to convey it. You should be able to do picture reading, making pictures, tables, and maps. So all these things will come under observation and recording. You can say that there are sub skills of observation and recordings. Then the next skill is discussion. So in discussion, when you do discussion, you should be able to listen, talk. You should be able to express your opinion very effectively. You should be able to make out information from other people by posing right kind of questions. Then the third is expression. You should be able to express yourself in terms of drawing, in terms of body movement, in terms of creative writing, sculpting. So any form of expression, you should be very what you can say, open and clear in expressing in any form. You should be able to explain. And when you do explain, for explaining things, you should have proper reasoning. You should be logical and coherent so that the explanation is clear. So that is number 4 in skills. Coming to number 5 is classification. This is very important. I am able to categorize, group things, article, places, objects, etc. by applying some principle. Why a particular thing will get categorized under this? Why a particular thing will group together? So I should be able to categorize and group things, articles, or any other things based on certain principle or characteristic. So because this is having this characteristics, that's why it is categorized here. Okay, and then why this particular thing is in this group, this is because of this characteristics. So these things are having this kind of characteristics, that's why I am grouping them. So this is an important skill of EVS. Similarly, contrast and compare. You should be able to contrast and compare between two things. It can be phenomena, social situations, objects, or historical or across the time, two kind of things. Suppose if you are contrasting and comparing between two pictures, okay, one picture is of a construction site in during the Mughal Empire, and one picture is of a construction site which is from modern era. So you are able to compare and contrast between the two pictures, what kind of tools are used in the Mughal era, what kind of tools are used in modern era. So that kind of comparing and contrasting, what you can uh, uh, draw out from two situations. So you should be able to contrast and compare. The sixth skill is questioning, expressing curiosity, critical thinking, developing good questions. So your questioning skill should be good. Okay, so because if you have a clear line of questions which are sequential and logical, then it will help you to engage in critical thinking. So it's very imperative that as learners we should be able to develop good questions. Then your analysis skills should be developed. You should be good at predicting, making hypotheses, drawing inferences. So in the classroom, we should have several pedagogical scenarios, or teaching learning practices should be such that children are engaging in observation and recording, discussion, expression, explanation, classification, questioning, and analysis. So moving forward, the next is experimentation. So you should be able to do experimentation. You should be able to make things. You should be able to arrange things for doing particular experiment. If some task is given, you are able to figure out a process. You are able to write down the steps you will do, and then what kind of material will be required. You are able to collect the material. So these kind of things you should be able to do. You should be able to experiment. When something is not working in an experiment, what kind of improvisation you can do. So a simple experiment can be that, like in class 3, if you see, or class 4, which things are lighter and which things are heavier. And children are in groups. They are dropping things in water and seeing which is sinking and which is floating. So after doing experiment, I am making a record of things, which items, which articles got sinked in the water, which articles were floating, and then I am making a categorization of lighter and heavier things, which things were there, which neither floated nor neither sinked, and they were in between somewhere. So these kind of simple experiments, okay, so you should be able to do, organize and report. The ninth one is the concern for justice and equality. So sensitivity towards the disadvantaged and differently abled. You might have seen this in curricular expectations also, that we should be sensitive towards the disadvantaged and differently abled. And I should have a concern for justice and equality. I should be able to make out what is wrong, what is right, and I should be able to raise my point and come out with an opinion. So the 10th one is cooperation, which is very important. Taking responsibility and initiative, sharing and working together. So it's very important skill that your learner is a team player. He can work in a team. He can cooperate with each other, because this should be nurtured from the beginning itself, because in higher classes you have to work in groups frequently, and you have to come out with something. You will work on projects, investigations, you will do certain experiment. And life also, when you are out of schools, if you are not a team player, it will be difficult for you to adjust or get out results. So cooperation is very important. So if I'm not able to work in a team or in a group, then I will be secluded, isolated, and it will be difficult for me to get assimilated with other peer groups, and ultimately in the society also, when I am out of schools, colleges, living a social life as a social unit. So this is very important professionally, socially, and also for higher studies. So gaining expertise. So peer learning, group learning is very important. So these are the 10 process skills which EVS should develop in the learner, and these are very important. And in our textbook also, you will find academic standards which are relating to this 10 process skills. So number one is, you can see, conceptual understanding, questioning hypothesis, experiments, field observations, information, skills projects. Okay, so communication through mapping skills, drawing pictures, making models, appreciation, values, creating awareness towards biodiversity. Now you can see there's a lot of coherence between the skills and attitude 10 which I have shown you and which are there in our academic standards in the textbook. So this I have taken from class 4 EVS textbook. So there are 6 academic standards. So we should develop our children around this. Okay, so they should have a conceptual understanding of things. They should be able to question things. They should be able to make a hypothesis. They should be able to do experiments, do field observation. They should be able to collect information, get on with projects with peer, come out with results, do presentations, record data, draw inference. So communication through mapping skills. Again, this is in expression. We have seen that in the 10 skills, making models. And again, this values of sensitivity, knowing rules and regulations, justice and equality, wrong and right, able to make a sense, think rationally, and then decide. So these kind of things should be developed, and we should put our learners in these kind of situations through the chapters given in the textbook. And it is also it should not be like that we will not go beyond the textbook. So these textbooks are for our help, for our guidance. But as a teacher, if you want to go beyond the textbook and bring in more resources, connect to other things, that is really welcome. And until and unless it is developing these skills. So through any means which is relatable to the cognitive level of child and cognitive ability is relevant to the child, any kind of resource which is community resource or resource outside from the book, which is helping us in inculcating these skills is welcome. Okay, so if we see further in the textbook, in the first few pages you will find learning outcomes. So these learning outcomes are very important. These learning outcomes help us to achieve the skills and attitudes. So they are very specific. They have a cognitive verb. You can see identifies, explains, describes, uses, creates, voices, suggests, observes, explains. So these are basically relating to, these cognitive verbs are relating to the skills. So these learning outcomes are statements which are telling us by using the content in a certain way, you can nurture certain skills. So when I am identifying simple features, shape, color, aroma of flowers, roots and fruits, and of birds and animal, what I am doing? I am first identifying the simple features. Now next step can be what? If I have identified different kinds of features in flowers, then I can differentiate between two kinds of flowers. A step further, I can categorize different kind of flower. A step further, I can classify. So identification is the first step, whether you are able to identify few features in flowers, roots or fruits. And then a logical step will be, I am able to classify them or categorize them in groups or not. So basically, learning outcomes are helping us to achieve those skills, attitudes, and abilities, these 10. So you can see there are verbs related to explain, verbs which will ultimately lead to classification, categorizing, grouping, words which will ultimately lead to questioning, analysis. So you can see there is a learning outcome which says voices opinion on issues observed, experienced in family, school, neighborhood. So if you are seeing some kind of discrimination, something is not right, I am voicing my opinion. So I am gaining a sense of what is right, what is wrong, and now I am making my own opinion on that, and I'm voicing that opinion. So this is a skill. So although this will be more in terms of attitude, okay. So some things will be skills, some things will be attitudes. So these learning outcomes are very essential. We should keep them in mind while dealing a chapter or lesson. So these learning outcomes gives us a very clear sense what will be the pedagogy and what will be the assessment. So if I have to let learner identify simple features of a flower, then I will know what I have to do. I might split them in groups and they will go out in the neighborhood. They will bring in different types of flowers and they will record what features are present in this flower and they will present in the classroom. And then when I will assess, I will say which flowers you can group together. Then if they are able to do it based on the features, then I think my work is done. So this is how learning outcomes help us. So identify is the first step towards categorizing or grouping things. If I am able to identify a feature or characteristic, that can become the basis of categorization or grouping. So if I am described, so one learning outcome is differentiate between objects and activities of past and present. This is what? This is compare and contrast. So I am able to compare and contrast between the modes of transport which were there at the time of our elders and modes of transport which are there now. So what were the differences? So this is what compare and contrast is. Tools which were used in tools which were used at the time of elders, now what kind of tools are used? What is the difference? So this is how. So based on this, how you will design your pedagogy? You might ask them to go to your elders and collect information about transport which were available in their time, how they were using the transport, and then they will come up with information in the classroom, and then you will talk about modern transport systems and they will compare and contrast. So these learning outcomes are important because they inform our pedagogy and assessment. Okay, so moving forward. So if you look at the forward of class 4 textbook, it says this textbook has to be considered a helping guide. Teachers have to make the teaching meaningful by adding modern technology to the experience of the children and using the local environment as an important resource. So this textbook has to be considered as a helping guide, as I have already said, and you can make your teaching meaningful by adding technology or resources which are present in the local environment, okay, which which learner can relate to, which are from their immediate surroundings. I am familiar about them, and I can draw some learning out of it. My learning will be much more enhanced if I bring in these resources. So it's not only about the textbook. You can bring in resources from outside, community, local environment, or you can use some amount of technology if available. So at this juncture, I will take a pause. If one of my colleague is there, so Jubi, are there any questions? Yeah. So are there any questions in the chat?
I'm checking.
Yeah.
Because so far I couldn't find any relevant questions.
Okay. So now we will move forward. Yes. So now let's take a lesson from class 4. The lesson name is From Village to Delhi. So this chapter, this lesson or chapter is about a boy named Ravi Prakash, who is going to Delhi with his uncle Venugopal to receive a prize which he has won in a program. So Ravi Prakash participated in something, and in a program where his drawing was selected, and now he will be receiving a prize in Delhi, and he is going to Delhi with his uncle. So this chapter is all about his journey, what kind of transports he uses, and what kind of observations he make. So this is a very I must say this chapter has been designed quite well. Here we will explore what kind of opportunities can be present in a chapter and what more opportunities can be brought in by the teachers. So let's have a look. So so if you see the first page of the chapters, so what is the first logical thing which we can do is a strategy which we can apply is that a read aloud session can be done in the classroom. So students can start reading this chapter line by line, and you as a teacher can make it more simpler so that they understand. If there are some hard words, complex words which needs some explanation or some example has to be given from their context, that can be done so that learners comprehend the text in an easy manner. So if you see, Ravi Prakash was very happy. His drawing titled Villagers Traveling on a Bullock Cart won a prize. He was going to Delhi with his uncle Venugopal to receive the prize in a program to be held on a Children's Day. So it can happen that a child tries to read aloud, and if he or she was not very clear, you as teacher will read aloud the sentence again and make it more clearer through examples and explanation. So this can be a strategy to engage children in the chapters and develop their comprehension and reading skills. So you start with that. they can go line by line and add wherever necessary. You can pause and make them understand what's going on. What does it mean? You can bring in other connections which are quite logical there. So when this reading is happening, you can point out certain words, as you can see. So the words which are standing out. One is Tandoor. He has to leave his village Tandoor. So there can be a discussion around where is Tandoor in Telangana. And now where he is going? He is going to Delhi. When he is going? On 10th of November. So there is an opportunity to talk about Tandoor and Delhi. You can also use a Telangana map to find out Tandoor, and you can use India map to locate Delhi. Then you can use a calendar to see when you say November, which month is this? Is this the 11th month? And when you say 10th, where is that date? So several kind of things can be done in the classroom. Okay. Now there is a word called Palle Velugu. So it was Ravi Prakash first visit to Hyderabad. A bus leaving for Hyderabad was at the bus stand. Shall we go in that bus, uncle? Asked Ravi Prakash. Venugopal said, this is an ordinary bus. It is also called Palle Velugu. We will go in express. So Ravi Prakash asked, why not in this bus? So at this juncture, there is a discussion in group. They have given in textbook, write the difference between an ordinary and an express bus. Find out and write about other types of buses. What are the details seen on a bus ticket? So you can also bring in a bus ticket. If there is a nearby bus stand, you can bring in a bus ticket in the classroom, and students can see what kind of details are there in the bus ticket. Okay, so that's why this discuss in groups has been given, because one of the skills is discussion. I should be able to engage in discussion, and I should be able to express myself. I should be able to differentiate between things. So you are seeing that when you are doing discussion, several skills are getting imparted. So this find out and write about other types of buses. If I have to find out and write about the other types of buses, I will have some previous knowledge on buses. But if I have to do that, I might have to engage in some survey or project. My teacher may take me to a bus stop where I can see different types of buses, and then I can write down some observation. Then I come back in class and we have a discussion. Then it's easier for me to find out and write about the other types of buses. There can be another way where I go to my elders and talk to them about types of buses. Okay, so that is why it is given. There is also an opportunity wherever there is a picture, you can talk about pictures. So when reading aloud is happening, there is a lot of opportunity to talk about words. So we have seen this Tandoor, then use of map, Delhi, then use of map, 10th of November, what it means, talk to them, then go to calendar and see what 10th of November means. So Palle Velugu, they will be able to relate to this. This is in Telugu. What it means, they will tell a lot of things. Then what it means by express. So an ordinary bus and express, they will be able to differentiate. Now, if we ask student to compare both the buses, the picture, they will give out several things. One is green, one is blue. What other differences are there? Okay, are the two buses same? Or just the color is different? So they will reflect on that. That they may say that only color is different, sir, but the buses are same. Or they may say that no, these are two different kind of, somebody might have traveled in bus, so he might figure out that these are two different buses. So let them express. So there can be a lot of opportunities which can be seen in the textbook. Okay. So if you look at the end of the chapter, it is mentioned under questioning hypothesis, there are inquiry counters in railway station and bus stations. We can know details of a journey from them. What questions would you ask to know about a train journey to Delhi? Then in experiment, there are field observation. Visit a nearby bus stand, railway stations and observe. Write down your observation whether the name of the station, toilets and urinals are available, whether facilities are available to the passengers are adequate, whether there are boards with details of arrival and departures. So there's a lot of opportunity in this chapter. Based on the context, based on the available resources, if there is a bus stand in close proximity to your school, it will be better if you take students for a survey of bus stand. They can be made into groups, and several groups, each group can have a specific task. One group can will talk to the ticket counter guy, one group can talk to the conductors, one group can talk to the drivers. Then in groups, they will make questions. What question I have to ask at the ticket counter? What question I have to ask the bus conductor? What questions I have to ask the driver? So in groups, while acting as a moderator, I will help the learners to frame some questions. And then when they go to the bus stand, they collect information and they come back in the classroom and present their group findings in written and oral form. So you can see in this small part, which is beginning of the chapter, there is a lot of opportunities, and we can use strategies like read aloud, picture reading, and survey or projects. Now, as you can see, why we will be doing all this. If you see the learning outcomes and you see what kind of things we are doing, differentiate between objects and activities of past and present. So, as I have discussed earlier, that you can ask student to go in their locality and ask elders what kind of transport was there. After the survey, they can do this task. They can go in home and ask their elders, grandma, or other senior people about what kind of transport they were having. And they can compare and contrast between their kind of transport facilities and now what kind of facilities are there, what kind of transport are there. When I am going to a bus stand, I am identifying signs, location of object, places and guides for the direction. So when I go to the bus stand, there might be a display board where which buses are coming from where, information is given, timing is given. So whether I am able to make out when a certain bus is coming, when a certain bus is going, from where it is coming. So am I able to interpret the signboard or not? We can also engage in from your home. If you have when you go to a survey, when we are going to a survey, if we ask them to make a map from school to bus stand, how we can reach bus stand from school, how we can reach bus stand from our home, what kind of things are midway when we go from our home to bus stand, when we go from school to the bus stand. And students will come with different kinds of map, and everybody might have interpreted the map or made the map in a different way with different kind of landmarks. That when I go from home to the bus stand, post office comes, a grocery shop comes. So this is why it is important. They will identify landmarks. They are able to, they will gain a sense of direction also. From my home, I go to left or right. And then when I go left, I have to take a right again. and then again a left. So how they are processing the information and they are depicting it on a map. And then you can talk about the map in the classroom also. So this is how learning outcomes help us, that we can design pedagogy around this. Okay. So you can see in this section only, by using read aloud, picture reading, and survey projects, we are achieving all the learning outcomes. We are able to make map. We are able to use the information on signboard, posters, or railway ticket, or a bus ticket. What is there on the bus ticket? What amount is there? This bus ticket is for which bus? It's for deluxe or express or some other kind of bus. So variety of things are there which can be done keeping learning outcomes in mind. So this is very important. Whenever we are entering the class, we should be able to know, if I go to the chapter, I will make out what kind of what learning outcomes I can cater through this chapter, and what kind of opportunities we can give to the student so these learning outcomes will be achieved. So you have seen that we have used read aloud, picture reading, and survey projects, and we are able to achieve 4 learning outcomes. So let's see what other opportunities are there in this chapter. So there is a section called Do You Know in the lesson, that TSRTC run buses in our state, different types of buses like Palle Velugu, Express, Deluxe, Luxury, Semi-Luxury, Super Luxury, Garuda, and Indra are run by TSRTC. Reservation facility is available to book the tickets in advance. To travel in the bus, online booking facility is also available. 10% concession is given to the people having Vanita and Navya CAT cards. Challenged person can also avail the concession. So if there is a text, then you should first explore what kind of opportunities are there. For me, I will first explore these opportunities. What it means by what does it mean by a challenged person? Then let them express their opinion. Have some responses from the student. They will say the challenged person is one who walks with the crutch. Challenged person needs help. So you can also pose question, why challenged person need concession? And then ultimately in classroom, there will be a discussion. Several opinions will come. And this is what EVS should do. And then in the class, children will ultimately rationalize why a challenged person should get the concession. Some people, some students might say that they should not get concession. They should be able to tell why they should not get concession. Okay, and the people, the children who are saying the challenged person should get concession, they should be also able to come out with logic and what is their opinion about this, why they are saying so. So this is how pedagogy should run. And when we are discussing about challenged person and concession, we are, as a moderator, bringing in sensitivity towards such people. So this is one of the learning outcomes in EVS. So whenever there is a text, first see what kind of opportunity is there relating with the learning outcomes. The next step can be that there are names of several buses, and it might be possible that there is no bus stand near me, or due to several operational constraints, I can't let my children to go out. So what is the way out of this? So this is the age of internet. There are several videos which are there on YouTube and several other places. You can use them, and you can also show them in mobiles. So everybody is having mobile, so you can show them in mobile also. If you're not having a laptop or a LCD screen in the classroom, so or in the school, so you can show them on mobile. So see, I have found a video which is a compilation of buses which are run by TSRTC. So now what we can do in classroom, we can play this video. So Jubi, is this audible? Video is audible and visible also?
Yes, because the video is audible and it's visible.
Okay, so now see, this is a video which is compilation of all kind of buses. Some names are also coming. So this video can be shown in the classroom, and children can you can give them a task that see how many buses are there. You can let them make a table, what kind of color is there, what kind of bus was there, and what kind of changes you see in the structure and seating arrangement inside. So based on the level of your student, you can assign a task, and they will watch the video, and then they will do the task, and then they will reflect back in writing and oral. So see, this is a simple video of 1.5 minutes, and it shows all the buses of TSRTC. So again, by showing this video, you can differentiate between objects and activities of past and present, and these are different kinds of transport. So I am able to differentiate between kind of transport, like this express, deluxe, luxury, semi-luxury, super luxury. I'm able to identify, solve features, and differentiate. So and some other learning outcomes can also be catered through this particular video. So you can, as we have seen that we talked about this challenge persons and concession. So this taking care of different living beings. So this sensitivity part also comes in this learning outcome. Although it has not been articulated in that way, but taking care of different living beings, then challenged persons will come under this category. So being sensitive, we have seen the skills and abilities that you should be sensitive towards others, sensitive towards challenged person. So that was there in the curricular expectation. So this is a small text and a video. Now you can achieve your 2 learning outcomes easily, and several others if you design different kinds of tasks around this video. So video can be a resource. So we have seen picture reading, we have seen survey or projects, and we have seen read aloud, and now this video as a resource. So let's see other opportunities which can be availed. So there are these sections in the textbook. So the first one, it was amusing to look out of the window when the bus was moving. Even the trees seemed to move. At the next stop, 2 officials checked the ticket of all the people in the bus. Now there is section think, where you have, were you ever checked while you were traveling? What happens if you travel without a ticket? Now see what kind of answers can come. What other things should not be done while traveling a bus? So several students who have traveled in bus will come out with different type of responses. Then you can talk about having a valid ticket, rules and regulations. Then let children reflect on that. So this is again this. Do you know traveling without a ticket is a crime? A fine of ₹500 or 6 months imprisonment or both may be levied. So you can ask student why traveling without a ticket is a crime. Let them voice their opinion. You can also talk about a fine of 500, whether it's too much, or do you think it's okay to charge 500, or this 6-month imprisonment. Why 6-month imprisonment? So let them debate around this, and you will have very intelligent and creative responses. So this is how you create a debate in EVS class, and try to discuss what is right and wrong in terms of justice, equality, and why there is a need of rules and regulation. Why are rules and regulations there be in society? What kind of rules you don't like in the society? What kind of rules should be there? Let them reflect. Make 2 groups, 4 groups, give two issues to them, and let them present. If you want to write, give them some writing task, that can be also done, or a mix of both. So again, there is a picture you can see. Observe the pictures. What could happen if you travel like this? What rules should be followed? Again, lot of responses will come. You can have a discussion, and then teacher should establish that, and students themselves will come with several things, that this is not the right way. That person has not, he's not wearing a helmet. That boy who is sitting at the end may fall. Several things will be there. This is not the right way of doing this. Then the role of traffic police will come. And traffic signals will come. They will talk about traffic signal. Why? What is the need of traffic signals? You can see what happens if there are no traffic signals. There is a question. Why are there no traffic signals in villages? In villages, why don't we have traffic signals? Traffic signals are there in towns only. Why do traffic jams occur? So they will come up with several kind of explanations. There might be dispute on the road. That's why traffic jams occur. There might be a large pit hole in the road. That's why jam occur. Some construction is going on. So they will come with lot of responses. What rule should be followed while going on the road? And then it can be established. They will themselves come with rules, what to do, what not to do. So they let them derive a position for themselves with some moderation from our side. And then we will achieve this learning outcome, which is voices opinion on issues observed, experienced in family, school, neighborhood. So I am voicing my opinion based on what is wrong and right in the society. So simple texts, pictures can be used to trigger discussion, can be used to furnish assignments to the student. They can work in group, they can present, they can record data. If students are near to a city or town, they can talk to the traffic police, they can observe the traffic light, what kind of traffic lights are there, what's happening when the red traffic light is there, what's happening when it is orange, what's happening when it's green. That observation they are bringing to the classroom. Then there is a discussion around traffic signal and its role. So all things can be connected here based on the context and availability of resources and where the school is located. If again there is no traffic signal, traffic police, which can be who can be approached, there are several videos that can be used, or there can be a book on traffic signals which you might bring from certain library, and children are reading that in group and coming out with questions, discussions. Okay, so these kind of opportunities can be availed. Moving forward, now see this Ravi Prakash is now traveling in train. You can see a photograph. Whenever you have a photograph in the textbook which is quite clear, you can have an opportunity of picture reading. Why? How many persons are there in the picture? Can you count? Why that lady is smiling? What that person is doing? Okay, so several things can be done with the pictures. Okay, then you see there is a ticket, train ticket, which is there, and there is a question, discuss in group, differentiate a bus ticket from a train ticket. Now you can see what kind of learning outcome we are trading towards. Okay, so these are authentic materials. When you give a ticket, I am interested to look what information is there. So there are number of passengers, from where train is going, what is the destination, what amount is there, what is the ticket number, what is the PNR number. They will come up with several questions, and when you give them a bus ticket to compare, they will see what is there in a bus ticket which is not there in the train ticket. Why in train ticket this particular information is given. So now you see pedagogy is moving. There is no need to design a very specific preconceived pedagogy. The content in the textbook and the learning outcomes are telling us what kind of pedagogy I have to resort to. So this ticket, if you put in the classroom 2 or 3 train tickets and 2 or 3 bus tickets, and let every group come up with what kind of differences they can find. What is their logic? If some detail is present in one ticket and some detail is not present in another ticket, what is their logic? So why distance is why is their distance mentioned in the train ticket in terms of kilometer, and that distance is very long. In bus ticket, is distance is mentioned or not mentioned? Why bus ticket is seeming cheaper, train ticket is seeming expensive? Is the train going to a long distance? By seeing the destination and the origin, can you make out? So several things you can do. Now in this chapter, Ravi Prakash reaches Delhi. He receives the prize and they are permitted to travel by a plane while returning. They were happy to travel by plane. Now they have what then? What did Ravi Prakash say about the plane journey? Now children have to imagine no information has been given about the plane journey, but they have given a photograph and have left it open so that children can figure out. They can think now, if we have seen Ravi Prakash traveling by a bus, getting on a train, reaching Delhi, now coming back by an aeroplane, what kind of things he will express, what kind of things he will experience, that I have to imagine and write. There is a box below the aircraft picture. So this will enhance the creative expression of the child. I have to imagine and write something that Ravi Prakash on the next day with his uncle boarded the plane, and in plane there were this and that, at airport there was this and that. And with this, what you can do, if children don't know anything about aeroplane or airport, you can show them a video of an airport, any airport, Hyderabad airport you can show. So there are several opportunities in the chapter through which you can achieve the learning outcome. So this ticket is an authentic material. You can compare two tickets, you can differentiate the details. You can complete the incomplete story as in this chapter, where the plane journey you have to figure out on your own. So children will come up with different kind of stories, that Ravi did this, Ravi did that. Some children may write that Ravi and his uncle stayed for a day in Delhi and they visited what you can say, the Jama Masjid and the India Gate. So now what we can do, we can bring in another kind of resource, or teacher can say that I have also completed this story. Before getting on a plane, they took a day break and they visited two places. And they went around Delhi because they were interested in going to some places. So they visited India Gate and the Jama Masjid or any other place in the Delhi. So now what we can do, we can give them a map also, or connected to this. If this is a plane journey, we have seen the ticket of a train. We can show them a short schedule because it is connected with the aeroplane. We can show them a schedule of flights to India. So this is an authentic material which I have taken from a website, which is showing flights which were coming to India during Vande Bharat mission, when pandemic was there and our people were out in other countries and government was bringing in. So now see, there are a lot of opportunities in this. There was a mention of aircraft and aeroplane and journey by aeroplane in the chapter. Connected to that, I have brought in a schedule or a signboard, which is generally there in the airport. So this is a schedule of Vande Bharat mission flights to India for bringing people back. Now, what kind of questions we can make? As a teacher, I can make questions which will relate to the learning outcome. What information can you get from this table? So children will say that I can see that there are flights to Kochi, Lucknow, Tiruchirappalli, Delhi, Mumbai, and I am getting the departure time, I am getting the arrival time. So they are interpreting the schedule. So several responses will come, and then you can collate responses to make a complete meaning of this schedule, that we are getting arrival time, we are getting departure time, we are getting from where the flight will come, we are getting the destination of the flight. We are also getting the name of the airline carrier, whether it is Air India or Air India Express. We are getting the flight number. Okay. And these flights are for a certain purpose. So now several responses are helping you to interpret the complete schedule. And there is also information 1092 Indians reached India yesterday. from Singapore, Dhaka, Riyadh, Bahrain, and Dubai. So all these children are very peculiar with information. They will bring in everything and you can collate that on board. So we have together interpreted a schedule. So now there can be questions like this. What is the flight duration from Dhaka to Delhi? Which flight takes the maximum time to reach the destination? Write the flight numbers and airline name. Circle Indian cities you know and write any one thing about each of them. See what kind of opportunities can be created through good questions. So I took a simple schedule and I posed these questions to the students, and you can wonder what kind of responses you will get. Again, as I was telling that you can give a map also. So you can see this LO is getting catered, uses the information, signboard, posters, railway ticket, timetable. So I am able to use the information present in the signboard, posters, or a timetable. So we have done that through these questions. Another opportunity, when I was saying that suppose Ravi Prakash stayed back for a day in Delhi and they visited Jama Masjid and India Gate. So I have we can give them a map like this. Okay. So this is a map of Delhi where you can see Jama Masjid is there. Here is the Jama Masjid and here is the India Gate. Now see what kind of opportunities this map can provide you. If you will frame questions, so the questions can be: name the places Ravi visited in Delhi. Circle the ones present on the map. So he visited India Gate and Jama Masjid. So I will circle that on map and I will name the places. It can be oral also and it can be written also. That is up to you how you will design the question. Then which roads, landmarks will you cross on your way from India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan? See, which roads and landmarks will you cross on your way from India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan? From India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan, if you have to go, you will cross Janpath and Rafi Marg and Vijay Chowk. Okay, so student will figure out this by seeing the map, which roads and landmark I will cross if I move towards Rashtrapati Bhavan from India Gate. Okay, and you can see there is a scale also. Scale is on map. If it's 2 centimeter, then it means 1 kilometer on ground. So now you can create several questions around this. There are also directions given. You can make questions around directions. You can make questions around river. You can make question around several other landmarks. Plenty of questions you can make and you can achieve these LOs. Again, identify signs, location of object, places, and guides for directions using map. So you are using map. So I am catering to this learning outcome by using this map and creating these kind of questions. So again, you can use authentic material like this. This is a boarding card. Now, as a teacher, you can frame some good questions using this boarding pass. And you can see what learning outcomes are getting catered. You can see a lot of information is there. So these kind of opportunities using authentic material wherever possible, you can use. So this is connecting to the chapters as there is a mention of aircraft. Now you are using boarding card. There railway ticket was given. You can use bus ticket as well. So several things can be done. This is just to give you an idea what can be done. So you are augmenting resources. Textbook is a resource with pictures, questions, but you are bringing in more resource to make the class more lively using your autonomy as a teacher. So as a teacher, we should move beyond the textbook also. So again, as you see, this chapter is basically a travelogue. Ravi with his uncle is going from Tandoor to Delhi, his village Tandoor to Delhi. Then he went to Hyderabad, from Tandoor to Hyderabad by bus, from Hyderabad to Delhi by train, and then now from Hyderabad, from Delhi, is coming back to Hyderabad by plane. So basically, this is a travelogue. The nature of the chapter, if you see, it's a travelogue where where Ravi is describing his journey to Delhi via various means of transport. So in your classroom, you can create a similar kind of travelogue. See, this is a travelogue of a class 4 boy, Shubhankar Kundu. So this is travelogue is about his trip to Uttarakhand, where he visited Jim Corbett National Park and Nau Kuchiya Tal in Uttarakhand. So this student has created a pictorial travelogue that we started from Delhi at this time. Our flight landed at Dehradun at this time. Then we took a taxi. Then we went to Jim Corbett Park. I saw tiger there. We did paragliding. We did boating, and there are pictures. So you can ask your student to create travelogue like this, like Shubhankar Kundu has done. So they will make very beautiful travelogues with pictures. Now those travelogues can be used in the classroom for discussion, and you can create questions around travelogue to achieve the learning outcomes. Okay, so this authentic materials can be used as a resource. So we have seen that schedule, aircraft schedule. We have seen that map. We have seen this travelogue. So these are all authentic material which are there existing, and now you are using it, connecting it to your chapters and achieving the learning outcomes. So in summary, today we have covered nature of EVS, curricular expectations of EVS, how there is a thematic approach in EVS syllabus, academic standards which are given there in class 4 textbook, and skills, abilities and attitudes, that 10 skills, abilities and attitudes which our students should have, and this academic standard is nothing but these skills, abilities and attitudes. And then we have talked about learning outcomes, how they can be very useful in designing pedagogy and assessment in the classroom, how learning outcomes have a cognitive work which relates to the skills and abilities. And there is also a content part, what you have to do. It indicates what kind of pedagogy you can do. So it will indicate, you will identify a feature of flower or fruit or animals. So that is the content part which is there in the book, and in book there is an opportunity for that. So learning outcomes, you have to keep the learning outcomes in mind. That's why they are given in the first few pages of a textbook. Okay. So whenever we enter our class, the learning outcome should be in our mind that today in this chapter, we have to achieve these learning outcomes. There are opportunities present in this chapter for achieving these learning outcomes. Now you will design your pedagogy and assessment around that. So some amount of homework should be there in your mind. It doesn't matter whether it's a lesson plan or not written. Okay, so if learning outcomes are there, they will act as a compass for you to navigate through your pedagogy and assessment. And if learning outcome is achieved, your skills and abilities are getting achieved, and ultimately curricular expectations are getting achieved. So we talked about what kind of opportunities are there in the chapters. So we saw some strategies like read aloud, picture reading, survey and projects, video as a resource, authentic material as a resource. We used a flight schedule from Vande Bharat mission, and we designed questions around that. We saw a boarding card and saw the opportunities which are there. What kind of questions can be framed? What kind of learning outcomes can be achieved? we talked about travelogue, how students can make travelogue, beautiful travelogues with pictures. If they have visited a few places in the past, so they can write about it. And then those travelogues can be used as an authentic material resource. We use the map of Delhi to achieve learning outcomes on science, location, maps, and also estimating spatial quantities. It's not there in class 4 Telangana textbook, but it's there in the NCERT learning outcome that children should be able to estimate spatial quantities like distance, time, duration. You have seen in the map that there is a scale. That scale can be used, that if you go from India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan, how much kilometer you travel. So you can take a scale. If 2 centimeter, I have, if through scale, I mark 2 centimeter, that is 1 kilometer on actual. So if on map, India Gate to Rashtrapati Bhavan is 5 centimeter, then how much kilometer I will travel on actual. So that kind of estimation I should be able to do. Okay, so hope I was able to provide you some insights into pedagogy and assessment, which can be done using EVS textbooks, our Telangana state textbook. I have, due to paucity of time, we had a 90-minute of webinar. I have used a chapter from class 4 and what kind of opportunities can be availed there. So hope this was useful to you. And if there are any questions, we can take it for 2 minutes and then we can close.
I have been constantly monitoring the comments because so far we haven't received any questions, but we'll wait for 2 minutes and see.
Okay. So if there are any kind of queries or concerns, confusions relating to teaching of EVS, you can also write back to me, and your concerned authorities can patch you through. You can get me contact and email IDs. That's not an issue. So I think we will close the webinar. We have already overshot.
Yeah, I couldn't find any questions so far.
So thank you, everybody. It was wonderful.